As we approach 5 years since Jerry Williams was sworn in as chief of the Phoenix Police Department, we are sitting down with her to reflect on her time here, the future of policing, and what she's learned about herself as a leader. Chief, talk to me about the standout moments for you in these past nearly 5 years.
So standout moments were definitely 2020. The death of George Floyd was the most horrendous thing that most of us have seen in a very long time. I can recall marching with the protesters. I can recall them giving me their list of demands or things that they want to change. And one of the immediate things was definitely to ban the use of the chokehold. It was to listen to different members in different sections of the community talk about these are the things that you need to do to make me believe that you're really a just police department. So that's when we go to the 8 Can't Wait and the Campaign Zero piece that talked about banning chokeholds, requiring de-escalation, requiring warnings before shooting at moving vehicles, our duty to intervene when my partner is doing something to a community member that I know is unacceptable. I can no longer just stand by and let that happen. I have a responsibility to address it and to address it then. Requiring comprehensive reporting, requiring a use of force continuum. So we are compliant in all those, and all that happened in 2020 as we were working our way through the process of continuing to improve while at the same time dealing with very real issues with members of our community. We are trying to find less impactful ways to get some of our community members who may not want to be taken into custody in an empathetic and sympathetic way. We are now compliant with our use of force with the Department of Justice. That's a critical incident. So as all these things are going on simultaneously, we're still answering calls for service. We're still identifying and knowing that we need to do things better. And we're not afraid of being challenged. I can tell you, folks who were in this chair before me, we used to tell people how to be policed. And now we're listening to our community members on what that looks like for them in 2020 and 2021 and beyond. And we're really becoming that nimble, flexible, accountable, understanding law enforcement profession and law enforcement department that's really working our way through providing a service the way our customer wants it to be provided.
Let's talk about what's next. What does the future of Phoenix Police look like for you? And perhaps even more generally, what does the future of policing look like?
The future of policing I do have to look at from the lens of an African-American mother who's raised 2 African-American males to adulthood. So when either of my son are pulled over by, let's just say, Phoenix Police Department, I want that contact to be professional. I want that contact to be just. I don't want them to feel any angst or any uneasiness, but I also want that for other members of the community also. So if we can get to the point to where if the lights go on behind you, you're not second guessing and you're not doubting whether or not this person is going to treat you with dignity and respect, whether or not this person is going to treat me the same way that they would treat someone else who doesn't look like me. That's really what I hope the future of policing to look like.
Looking at the future of policing, we also have to look at how we are reforming, how we are progressing. How do you think our Phoenix Police Department compares to other departments as far as how progressive we are, as far as how much we are reforming?
So I will say this, that there is always room for improvement, that there is always a way to push things forward. I believe we're a progressive police department. I also have to own the fact that there have been some critical incidents that have happened since the course of time that I've been the police chief that have been very public, that have been very painful, but those pains have caused us to really drill down and work through those hard processes of changing policy, procedure, and practices. I do know that many agencies come in and visit the Phoenix Police Department to look at our Crime Gun Intelligence Center, to look at our behavioral health program, to look at our training, to look at other entities because they realize that we have the structure for that. But I'm also not foolish enough to think that there's nothing else we can do, because there's absolutely more we can do to get better as a law enforcement entity.
I want to know what you feel like you've learned about yourself as a leader over these past 5 years and how that has impacted the police department.
So what I've learned about myself is, in spite of the high-profile critical instances, that at the end of the day, I want what's best for the Phoenix community. At the end of the day, being a native Phoenician, being a wife, being a mom, being a member of Tanner Chapel AME Church for the moment and a couple of other churches before that, I want the best work product possible from this police department. How do I get there? We get there with communicating with our community. We get there from learning from our mistakes. We get there from increasing policies, procedures, and practices, and not being afraid to take the criticisms that are coming our way in order to make us better to serve the community.
Coming up in part 2 of our 3-part series with the chief, we are talking about the high-profile investigations, the shootings, all of the challenges that she's faced during her time here, and the policy changes she's put in motion, too.